It's water dripping right there. Here, wait. No.
Thanks for taking some of your so-called safe time to come down here. But yes, we're not really 200 feet off the ground because we are standing on a 70-foot tower of stairs, and that stair tower sits on top of this pointy hill. And that hill, which you're going to be able to see when you turn around, that hill is the debris pile of the cave. And a debris pile is simply the accumulation of anything that ever slid through the opening of that sinkhole over the life of the cave. So this first room of the cave is named the Cathedral room. And that's because it's really big, like a cathedral, but also because the acoustics in here are beautiful. And I would like you to help me test those out right now. Okay. All right? If you would all turn out toward that big opening, I'm going to say 3, and then let's all nice and loud say, "Hello, Marble." And then be quiet. And listen to that echo that's going to come back to us, okay? It's going to be "Hello, Marble" on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hello, Marble! Holy smoke.
Very nice echo, you guys. Very nice echo. And you know what? I have a lot of kids on this tour, so there's something I want to point out to you to be on the lookout for. Right over here is the very, well, actually it's the second of our dinosaurs on the cave tour. Anybody notice a dinosaur in the cave waiting area?
Yeah.
There's one in there. One of my fellow guides is super cute and fun, and she hides dinosaurs. So you guys can be on the lookout for those. All right, you have to have keen eyes to see those dinosaurs. All right. There are, I've heard 20, give or take. I actually just found one I didn't know about a couple weeks ago. So some of them are very well hidden. All right, well, the people who first discovered this cave were Native Americans. And that makes sense, right? They would have been the first people here. They were members of the Osage tribe that inhabited the Ozarks. And the Osage gave this place its very first name. They named it Devil's Den. I know, and we don't know why exactly they chose that ominous, scary name, but if you look around here and you listen and you kind of feel, you can imagine that they might have viewed this as kind of an ominous, scary place. There's this mist that rises up out of that sinkhole a lot of times in the winters. They would have looked down into the sinkhole and seen nothing but deep darkness below them. And they could have heard all of that dripping and echoing sound that we're hearing today. And it's a little unsettling, isn't it? Or, you know, maybe the Osage just thought this was a scary place just by sheer virtue of that drop-off, that 200-foot drop-off into the cave. They would have known it was dangerous. But the Osage, who were very smart people, they knew what to do about it. In the 1500s, they went around to the trees around the sinkhole, and on the trunks they carved notches. And those notches communicated to other tribe members to beware this place. And that warning seems to have been heeded because there have never been any Native American artifacts found in here. And that's unusual for a cave here in Missouri. Bless you. Okay, so we're about to head deeper into the cave. Before we leave here, though, this platform, you guys need to know that this is almost the point of no return. Once you leave the platform, it's a lot harder to get out of this cave. So if you're feeling like you don't want to go through the cave, you are welcome to turn around right now, go up those stairs, pull that door shut behind you, but otherwise we'll be down here for the next hour together. All right, and if you want to leave, no big deal. People do it all the time. All right, do you guys have any questions before we take off? Yeah, what's your question? We're gonna go down there. Yeah, that floor is 200 feet down below us. All right, so as we go down this tower of stairs, this is the first staircase right over here. Please use all of those handrails. If I could have your attention. Okay, please use all of those handrails. Hold onto them. You can see for yourself. It's wet, it's dimly lit in here. And right here is your very first opportunity to hit your head if you're over 5'10". There are a couple of steel beams. Just watch out for those steel beams, all right? Don't do the non-padded part. This is where I do Look out, Maria.
That's 200 feet down.
Hey, don't rush. That's where I came from.
That's where rock falls down. That's why we're covered. Right. This whole thing is down. celebration. To make that celebration exciting, they hired a hot air balloonist to fly his balloon up on that city square. But the day of that opening, it was too windy to safely fly a hot air balloon up on the square, and they thought for a while that they were going to have to scrap the whole idea. And then Jack Hersham had an idea. He said, now wait a minute. We have somewhere in the park that doesn't have any wind. We have a cave. And so they disassembled that balloon on the city square, carried the pieces down here, reassembled them, inflated the balloon, and for the first time ever in 1963, they flew a full-size hot air balloon down here. And they've done it a few other times. One time, they even flew 5 full-size hot air balloons all at the same time right in this room. So see if you can imagine that. Get over there and see if you can imagine 5 balloons in here. The day they flew those balloons, it was 1994, and they were celebrating 100 years of cave tours, which means that the first tours of the cave began way back in 1894. This year, we will have been giving tours of the cave for 130 years. But if you've taken a tour, with the first family, their name was Lynch. William Lynch has a plaque on the wall over there. It reads, "In memory of William H. Lynch, who loved his family." He was a Canadian businessman, and while he was still up in Canada, he read about the cave being for sale, and he bought it sight unseen for $10,000. And he moved here all the way from Canada. He came to the Ozarks, and he brought along his 2 daughters. Their names were Miriam and Genevieve. And the Lynch sisters were only 4. Right there is the and the arch. Heel is way back here. It's a giant footprint, and right there, adds a little bit of backwards spread. I'm not sure. But anyway, I told you that the Osage University was that was set right when it first would have been, it was known that there was a cave here. None of the early people ever came down into the cave. That big flat smooth ceiling. And he could see the dark patches and light patches on it, and Henry thought to himself, that is the biggest piece of marble I have ever seen. And he was excited by that discovery. And he wondered if it held any other riches for him. And he set off to explore more of the cave. The first direction he tried to go was over in that direction. But when he got there, he was stopped up short because instead of that open passageway that we see today, when Henry saw right there was a tall brown pile of smelly stuff. Yeah, he wanted nothing to do with that. And so the only other direction for him to explore was this direction toward the big old food. And he walked over to the edge. in a cave called Devil's Den. That's right. And this is what scared me the most. The closer we got to there, the warmer, the hotter he got. Yeah, Henry thought that he had just found the entrance to the very worst place a person could go. And you guys are standing right by us. Yeah, Henry thought that maybe he had just found a Branson timeshare tour. No, really, Henry was scared because he really thought that maybe that was an evil place and that the Osage had not been fooling around and they named it Devil's Den. And he got out of here as fast as he could and he never came back into the cave again. You remember, he was a lead miner. And he got on his horse and he was going to ride his horse back to St. Louis, but before as he was leaving the area, he encountered some locals and he told them about that big piece of marble up there. He had no use for it. And this time, the locals were the ones who get excited about it because they were of modest means. They made their living off the land. A big piece of marble for the locals, that was a big, big opportunity. And so they pooled all their money together and they established the Marble City Mining and Manufacturing Company because they were going to mine marble down here. And the first thing they did with all of that money they had was they built a little town. It was a little mining community, which they named Marmaros. And in Greek, Marmaros means Marble City. The little town of Marmaros, it sat where the town square of Silver Dollar City sits today. And in that town of Marmaros, the miners and their families had a place to live. And the next thing the investors did with the rest of their money was they bought a bunch of mining equipment. And they brought it down here, and they got it all set up in this room because they were going to mine down here. They spent 10 years and $50,000 preparing to mine marble. And they were just about to get started on that when somebody finally had the really good idea to hire a geologist. You guys see where this is going, right? Yeah, what do you think the geologist said? Getting marble. That's right. That ceiling is still there. You guys already noticed that. But it's not marble. It's a big slab of limestone. And about 90% of the Ozarks is limestone. So, can you guys imagine being investors and getting news like that? That would have been pretty upsetting, wouldn't it have? Well, the geologist had something, he told him something that made him feel better. He said, you can't mine marble down here, but you know, you do have something very valuable. And what was that the geologist found that was so valuable?
Guano.
The guano, that's right, guano. Yeah, there was so much guano in here that this passageway was completely blocked. That was that big, icky pile. And the reason Henry never heard his rock land over there, there were about 300,000 bats in this cave at the time Henry was here. And it was thousands of years of accumulation of bat guano that had never before been disturbed by humans. So there was a lot of it. And that guano made those investors stinking rich. Because back in the 1880s, guano was selling for $700 per ton, which in today's dollars would be about $20,000 per ton for bat guano. I know, it is kind of crazy. So what was it in the 1880s that made that guano so valuable? What would they use it for? Oh, I heard it over there. An explosion.
Explosions.
Yes,
TNT.
Yep. Gunpowder, explosives, and something for farming. Fertilizer. That's what they used it for. Yeah. Investors got rich off of it, and they were able to haul guano out of this cave for 4 years. And after that time, there wasn't enough left in here to make it a commercially viable operation. Those bats were all just pooped out by then. So they had closed the Marble City Mining and Manufacturing Company. Everyone went back to their homestead, and that little town of Marmaros, it sat empty. Everyone was gone. It became a ghost town, and it later burned to the ground. And the cave, it was empty about 5 years, until William Lynn, who loved the cave, he brought Miriam and Genevieve to be the first guides here, and we've been giving tours of this cave ever since. Okay, so we're about to All right, so everybody hang on to somebody or something. And if you will cover your devices, it'll be a lot darker. You guys all ready? Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Oh.
Yeah, look down there in the deep. That's the only light there is.
Okay, if you want the lights on for the rest of the tour, raise your hand,
Please. Bloody hell.
Okay, how many questions?
You said that was about 100 feet? 110? 120? Yeah, good luck seeing down there. This was 300 feet below the surface.
Would you be my last person on the tour? Would you be my last person? Oh, what's your name? Hayden's going to be our
But it's the last big 500.
Hey, y'all, I've seen Jurassic Park, okay? Weird stuff is happening.
Watch that. I'm bad with stairs. I'll slip on them all the time. Of course, I just switched hands. Now I'm going to have to switch again.
No, I'm pretty sure I did.
You did.
Steps are smaller.
How can I watch it? It's attached to my head. It's speed.
Watch your head.
I'm skipping that.
Watch your head. Watch your head. You boys behind this.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
I'm not that shorter than them.
I'm not that sure.
I am not that shorter than them. That is such good English.
It might get inch shorter. Okay.
This is
This is the tiny part they showed us about. Watch your head.
watch your head, Tyler. Uh-huh. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh, hey guys, that's not on the back.
Yeah, I know. Still.
Teach Sorry guys.
Wait, where's the... Oh, wait, that's not that's like $20. Oh, right.
I recommend putting it this way.
Except for that. That can't hurt.
Is it?
Oh, this is fine.
This is headache as well.
Oh gosh, that turn.
I'm glad you did not hear that outside. I actually threw out my short.
Hey, how's the job? Oh,
Water.
Oh. I'm just trying my best to keep up with everybody.